Start streaming. Do that. Let's refresh the stream. See if it's already allowed it to go live or it won't go until 7:30. I'm assuming it will let it go. Yeah, it should be live. Yeah, it is. Okay. Do me a favor, Cosmic. Can you open it up on your computer and just give it a quick listen? Let me know how audio stuff sounds. Like if anything sounds bad throughout it, and I'll work on it.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, welcome everybody to 239 Tonight. It is the 16th episode of 239 Tonight. We are going to be talking about the Season 6 playoffs tonight. I have none other than my co-host, Cosmic Fade, and the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dominator Silva. How you doing, son? How you doing, Dom?
Intro. I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I almost called you Silva for some reason, and I don't know why. It wasn't that part of me that would say like, "Yo, hey, Dare," and I just call you Silva instead of Dom.
I'm fine with that. I won't spaz out over that. But I tell you what's weird is being called Dom Silva. I don't know any other Doms in the league, but
all right, you know what, man? I'm just trying to do my best here, okay? Anyway, so let's get right into this tonight. So tonight we're going to be talking about the overall standings, how like everything finished out, and then I want to kind of break it down to the playoff matchups. And Dom's kind of here to be that middleman. He was actually here because I couldn't get a hold of Cosmic until 20 minutes ago, and Cosmic got on. So either way, what we're going to do is when it comes down to the We Give 60s versus the non-consensual series, Dom and Cosmic are going to take it away. And then when it comes down to the Knights versus the Knights of the Frozen Throne versus Chili Con Carnage, myself and Dom will do it. So, when you guys look at the standings, Dom, when you look at the standings, is there anything that surprises you here? I know a big surprise for me is that your team somehow didn't make the top 8. I had you guys easily making the top 8. Do you want to kind of explain maybe what happened with your squad and then maybe break down the rest of what you think like is going on with the league, like how it kind of finished out and people finished in what spots and stuff like that?
how much time do you have? I mean, as far as what happened to my team, as much as I can, it was a lot of I don't even know how to diagnose it. It was just like misfortune. Each player kind of had their own thing going on each series. It just came out like I don't know. There was hashtag Chem. Everybody on the team was good, and we gelled well together when we played to our potential. Like you asked Daly, he called us heroes of this season because we played this team really hard, and I had a system in place, and everyone kind of bought in. We just kept dropping games that we needed to win against teams either we viewed lesser than skill or even in skill. And that over time kept happening, and that's why you saw us drop and we didn't crack that top 8. I don't know what else I could have done. I know you guys are a big proponent of like what happened to whatever my team was last year, Greendale, and all those trades, and that didn't really happen this year. We just needed a left wing and a goalie pretty much, and
Well, let me ask you this then with your team. When you guys played those series that you needed those win games, would you guys start off the series slow and that would just kind of contribute and like be that catalyst to why the rest of the series wouldn't go that way? You know what I'm talking about? Like kind of how not so much emo is there, but it kind of just sets the tone for the rest of the night. Like if you have a bad first game, like the rest of the games are kind of off. Like is that what would happen, or just like things just wouldn't work out the way they needed to?
That where we started so like kind of revved up into like our skill, like our potential and how we play. Typically against the teams that, like I was saying, were we viewed as our skill or just beneath, like whether it was insufficient practice before the series or whatever, for whatever freaking reason, it took us forever to get into our mode, and that's when we dropped games. So yeah, exactly that happened some of the time, but against better teams, we just never, like the other half of what you just said, we just never got to play their game, and we dropped series. And
well, I know
happened.
Your team beat my team in a series. Like it was like an easy contest. Like you guys just out defended us and just like you just kept us from scoring, and it worked well. So I had some good promise. Like I had some high hopes for your team. I thought your team was going to do well, and it kind of sucks to see it kind of turn out that way.
And I'm sure Fade will probably say the same, and I know Daly will in terms of defensively how our team was, and I don't know. It just broke down, and sometimes, and we can never really. Scoring was an issue, as much as I hate to admit it, because Quantum and Bar, for those who don't know, they're dynamic guys. They're shifty. They're pretty good at scoring, and I like to think I can help them put the puck in the net. It just didn't work for whatever reason. We had hashtag Chem, kind of, but it didn't really work. So
I understand. So other than hashtag Chem, actually, let me ask you this, Cosmic. Then, are you surprised with where hashtag Chem finished? Are you like kind of surprised how everything turned out?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's, like, if you look at it on paper, there's definitely more teams I think should have dropped lower, and hashtag Chem should have definitely been up there, probably top 6. If I made a guess before the season at the original roster, the roster they have now, I'm saying top 6 just because of that defense they have. But I don't know what went wrong. I guess scoring was obviously the big issue, and I don't know. It's odd how that turned out. When we play them, it's almost like it was hard to enter their zone, but we ended up outplaying them somehow, like on time on attack and like stuff like that. But they would always find a way to make it close. It's weird how they play, but it just didn't work out, I guess, because we still won. So I don't know. I don't know if it's just unfortunate when it comes to the game, or just like not a misunderstanding, but not everyone's just, I don't know, not everyone's doing their part. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It was just really weird playing them. It's like we should have lost the game, but at the same time we outplayed them, so we shouldn't have lost the game.
Yeah, and I'll say that your team was one of the teams that we viewed like as like a really good team, like a if we, I'm going to be realistic, like a better than us type of team. But when we got into the series and started playing and getting in our mojo, we felt like we could hang, and we played you guys, I think, pretty tough. So it was a fun, like, tight series, and that was kind of most of our series. It was just for whatever reason, it came up short, like series in, series out.
All right.
Pill to swallow, but that's what happened.
Well, I think overall last season you kind of got screwed because the whole Woolen thing, and this year I think you ended up with a good team. I think it's just like what you said, it's just scoring stuff, and it's just in the end it kind of sucks that it ended up the way it did. But I mean, I think you had a solid team. I mean, I even did my preseason rankings and I put you guys in like the top number. Wow, I can't believe I didn't save that. But I put you guys in the top 8 at least. I thought you guys were going to take it, so it's kind of a shame. But either way, regardless, good job being a captain and having a better season than what happened last time. So,
no, it happens, yeah.
So we'll move on from that then. So when you look at the top 8 here, you look at who's going in the playoffs. Are you guys surprised that Netflix and Chill? So this is kind of what I want to bring it in. So Netflix and Chill, Pale Poner and his squad. Now on the East Sober show, basically everyone in the party kind of wrote on the team and said, "Oh, they only got in there because of luck and they're outplayed every game and they somehow find a way to win." Pale was not happy about it. Now I offered Pale to come on the show and talk about it, and he just didn't want to. But I want to kind of ask you, Dom, from the point of a captain that's been here for a while.
For sure.
Is there only so much luck a team can have to the fact of they squeaked in at number 8, didn't squeak in. They beat the Diddling Danglers by 3 points to get in to the playoffs, so they had the spot. But when they played every series, I remember I watched the We Give 60 series, and it looked like they were playing well, and We Give 60 wasn't. Now, that was one of their close to their final series before the end of the season. But I remember watching them play Knights of the Frozen Throne, and I'm not kidding. The Knights of the Frozen Throne dominated all 3 games. And Ability just couldn't save 4 shots out of 4 shots, and that was just kind of how the night was going for him.
Heard about that.
Yeah, and that's a rough go. And, and I think when I watch that team play a lot, there's no real star talent. And I think a lot of people can agree there's not really one name on the team that you go, oh, yeah. Like, you got line back and net, and that's a big, huge attribute to the team. But then the other name you kind of think of is you're like, oh, Pale Poner's there. Okay, you got Derek GNR back at defense. Like, you've got these guys on the team, but there's no real guy that stands out. So anyway, to get to the point of it, Pale was very upset how a lot of people proclaimed that his team only made it in because of luck. Now, what would you have to say to that response for that team, if that makes any sense?
I feel like the whole luck argument it's just wrong. Simply because he put up W's. He put up W's when he needed to. If you say he's lucky, then he was lucky, however many wins he had. Still saying he's lucky with however many wins he had. Like, it's tough for me to say it too because we swept him, right? And we
Yeah, yeah.
were like a garbage team essentially. So it's just like, yeah, I'm well aware, but also they didn't have, I think Derek or Lime in that series. They had like one or two of their best players, and I'm sure like even without it, we're confident that we still would have beat them. So, at the end of the day, Pale's a smart captain. He's a smart player. If he has a system developed for his team, which I don't know if he did because he had two waivers, and I don't know if they listened to him, um, follow that. So I don't know. I believe this team made it on the strength of their captaincy because I don't know, Dare, if you had sorry, Cortez.
You're good,
If
buddy.
you had him, did you have Pale like up there at the start of the season? Because I don't think many people did.
No, I had his team finishing in the bottom. I think I had him from 10th place down somewhere in there. So he came out above what I thought.
You could argue that if people beneath him in this and how it ended up played to their potential, then nobody's talking about luck, right? They're just talking about how this team it acted like played the way they should have played.
Well,
Make it.
My response to that is when I look at any other roster, I really think that when I look at Netflix and Chell, it was kind of my first argument point is there's no name on it that makes me go, oh, okay, that team's going to have success because of that person. Like, I think Lime is the one person I look at and go, he's a solid goalie and he could bring wins for his team. But like Pale, I think Pale is very talented at the game, and that's not putting down Pale in any way when I say there's not really a name on there. I think Pale is the name when you look at their team. But my point is when I look at a hashtag Chem, I see Sea-Doo, I see Rev Hellcat back at defense. That's great. Like that's a star defensive talent right there, a star lineup for that. And then forward, I know you could play, and I consider you and Pale equivalent in my own eyes with things. So my thing is that every other team I could point out, there's one person on the team that I think makes a significant difference to their lineup. That without them, it's hard. It's kind of like my team. If D-Mart's not in the lineup, I don't think our team succeeds to any level that we have. So that's the one thing with that team that I think I point out, and I think it's kind of subconsciously in a lot of other people's minds that it's like when you think of the team, there really is no one person to identify as what their success is coming from or that stands out the most other than Pale, and it's because everybody knows Pale. So I think that's why people kind of classified it or generated the idea of it being luck based. Like when we played them, I believe we won the series 2-1, and it shouldn't have been 2-1. Lime and I both got scored on with ridiculous bounce goals that were stupid, and fortunately enough, like my team was just able to beat it. But it wasn't like time on attack was in our favor, shots were in our favor, everything was in our favor. It's just they were able to sneak away with the game because of the bounces, and it's the same thing that happened against Lime. And I think that's kind of what happened with a few teams. And unfortunately for Pale and that party and the East Sober show, those teams were the people in the party were on those teams. So I think that's. I felt bad for Pale when it was said, but I also don't disagree with the fact that I think some luck played in somewhere. But like you said, there's no way you squeak your way into the playoffs on luck alone. So anyway, if there's anything Cosmic, do you want to touch up on that? I know you and I kind of talked about it in a party a little bit, but
I don't know. I mean, I don't think luck is the right word for it, but I can kind of see where they're coming from. The numbers played out in their favor, or the rest of the teams around them played in their favor, and I think that's where I guess the luck comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess late in the season heroics, and I'd put a lot of props to Lime because I from what I seen or when I played them, even though I think we should have at least won a game, right? But I think their defense played to a style that allowed for Lime to see the puck as much as possible so he can make the save. So even if you have 20 plus shots to their 4 or whatever, right? They're still they want you to do that. They want you to throw a shot in it. Then when Lime saves it, you possess the puck, right? They possess the puck. He throws it out or whatever. Or he gets a freeze and then hope Pale wins the face-off. So I mean,
yeah,
that's what it seemed like they were doing, and I don't blame it. And then I think Pale has enough enough strength or offensive mindset on his own to just come down and weave around everybody and just score in his zone or give a simple pass to one of his wingers for a one-time clap or whatever. So I mean, I think their strategy, like their team strategy, was just different, but it worked enough to get them into the playoffs.
For sure. And that's and that's why I kind of felt bad a little bit that Pale like felt a little upset with the review that everyone kind of gave, because at the end of the day, their team did make the playoffs, and I'm hoping to see them have a nice hard battle with Swift Pups, because who doesn't want to see a great underdog story regardless of that? So, like, in the end, good for Pale. I think it also helps out that Dank was Rule 1 out of the Diddling Danglers before their last series, which ended up being a rough one. So a win in one overtime appearance makes them tie, and then whoever won that series is the difference of there. But, you know, Praetorian Guard having a rough go at their season with a great lineup, Raising Kane, #Chem. Worst case Ontario having the two people both not being able to play with Dicko and Thug. And I think there was a lot of fortunate things that were able to have that pan out for the team. And at the end of the day, though, they did make the playoffs, and that's what matters. So we'll move on from that then. But all right, so let's just get right into breaking down the series here, because I want to take some time with each one if we can. So we'll start it off with 1 versus 8. We got the Swift Pups versus Netflix and Shell. Instead of just saying who's gonna win it in how many games, I think we're all on the same page that Swift Pups will probably win the series. What does Netflix and Shell have to do to beat the Swift Pups? Whether it's in 7 games or somehow a sweep or 5, 6, whatever it is. Dom, what do they have to do?
Shut down Regretskis.
So if they go ahead, sorry.
And this kind of ties into what we were just talking about, and I think some of the success, which I forgot to mention, they probably just play really good as a unit. Netflix and Shell does. So if they do that, and on top of shutting out Regretskis, who's the proponent of offense on that team, he hooks up SO, #I push up. He hooks up Winisimov, I think is their center. It all flows through him, and I'm not saying that other players aren't smarter or they can't, carry an offense, but if you do shut down Regretskis, you will limit them scoring opportunities. You will limit points. And if you play as a unit, you can definitely steal games. But you have to do that consistently, and they can definitely take the series. But I do agree with you. I think Pups will take it in all reality.
And how many games do you think?
Max is 6, minimum 4. I'll say 5.
All right, 5. Just to play that a little bit safe, we'll go with the average there. Okay. So, Kosmic, kind of play off that. If Regretskis is on fire, what does this team do? What happens? If actually, better yet, let's reverse the question. If Netflix and Shell comes out on fire and the Swift Pups are having a hard time, what do they need to do to kind of reverse the scenario and make the series theirs?
I think like I said before, they just stick to their game. They play really conservative D, and they don't really step to anyone too much. Because I feel like if you step to Regretskis a lot in his corner that he really likes to sit in and weave his way out of, I think if you limit him there and you just keep him, allow him to do spins on his own, you don't really get caught out of position too much. I think if you just allow Lime to see the puck to save and it's not too difficult of a shot, I think if they just keep pounding the rock when they get possession, it's their time to go, right? It's like, I don't know. It's like if you've ever watched a soccer, I don't know, this is probably not going to be a lot of people, but if you ever watch a soccer game and there's one team that's absolutely going to dominate the other team, right? They're going to dominate the possession numbers, and they're going to dominate the passing, and yada, yada. They're going to have the ball for probably 70 minutes out of the 90 minutes of the game. But in those 20 minutes, the other team is, their team's fully rested because they're just sitting there and making sure they don't get scored on, right? And then when it's their time to score, they're coming down hard on the counterattack, and they're just putting 1 or 2 in to the point where now they have a number to defend, and that's how upsets happen. So, I think that's going to have to be the mindset for Netflix and Shell, because I don't think they beat them in any category.
They're going to have to take that advantage of the few minutes they do get of time on attack and really make something happen of it when they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you had to predict this series, what's it going to? Who's taking it?
I hope Netflix and Shell takes it, but if I'm going to make a realistic guess, I'm going to say Swift Pups in 6.
Swift Pups in 6?
Yeah.
Okay. I was along the same lines. I think if the if Watch Your Back comes out and plays the game that we all know he can, I think this series is over before it starts. Watch is the backbone of that team. That guy has had such a great season, kind of unmatchable for goaltenders. He wiped the waters with shutouts ahead of everybody with 10 in 38 games. He's been doing a great job. 1.73 goals against, .867 save percentage. The guy is just on fire with it. I hate tooting watch his horn because I'm just going to hear about it later in a party. But either way, I think the series is over in 4 if he's on, but if not, I think 6 is the appropriate answer. Dom, I think, might have the right answer with 5 too. But it could go either way. So let me ask you guys this question with this as well. They brought it up on the throwdown. Chew Therapy's there. He said he's here. He could play in this playoff series. Now the team hasn't really played with Chew. They're winning. They just finished first place, of course. Dom, let's get it from a captain's perspective. If you are Regretskis and you've got Steven at right D, or you got Winisimov in at center, and you've got Chew Therapy sitting there on the sidelines, do you make a change, or do you leave it all the same and just kind of like the way everything's been working?
If I got Chew, and I'm sure, I don't know if he's using Chew at C or right D or what his availability is, but he's elite at either position. If I'm Chew, I keep my forward line chemistry. Or sorry. If I'm is it Regrets? Yeah. If I'm Regrets, I keep my forward line chemistry and I put Chew on right D.
So you would substitute out Steven for Chew for this series.
I love messing with Drift all the time, but I would. I think that's a smart play. I think that's a play for the team if Chew's available, obviously.
I do believe he said he'd be available for this series. What Daly said on the throwdown. So he could be here for this whole. He said he has the whole week that he could play.
Back end then be Megs and Chew, or did Megs get traded to? I forget who they're back in.
It'd be Rondon, Volante, and Chew.
Rondon's solid too. Okay, like as a captain, I want the smartest player. I want he doesn't need to be the best or most skilled, as Drift kind of is. So I'd stick with Rondon and Chew.
Well, so let me ask you this: if you're Regretskis and you're kind of thinking, okay, everything's worked fine, I don't want to change anything, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna keep Chew out for this game, I'll put Steve in, and they have a rough game one. Me personally, I think that's the time to make a change because Steve's been working, and Steve's a very offensive defenseman, so he kind of adds in that attribute to the team, and that may be the reason they're scoring some goals. But obviously, if it doesn't work game one, then change it up with Chew. Is it kind of what my thought is? Would you agree with that concept at all, or you would just start with Chew right from the beginning?
It's not really like that where it's if you lose, then make the switch. It depends on how the loss happened. Was it close? Was it a mistake that someone else made? Did he play really good? It's the eye test, right? That everyone.
Yeah.
It's very rarely mentioned, but yes. So I partly agree with you and partly don't. If that change needs to happen, Chew for Drift, then yes, you make that change. Absolutely. Your job as a captain is to recognize that, ride the hot hand. And I trust Regrets doing this. I really do, because I think he and I, and probably Daily, in terms of personal, talking with each other, view the game and assess skill the same way.
Mm-hmm.
That he would be able to make that decision. Okay. Is my opinion.
So real quickly before I go on with this, then I just got a message from Regretskis, and he just told me that Chew is actually not available for Tuesday and Thursday. I was going off of Daly's word, so that is my apologies. But we'll just kind of go on. We'll just kind of make that conversation of if Chew was available for whether it's this series or the next one or whatever. So with that being said, we've got your opinion on it now. Kosmic, as a former captain, what are you doing? You got Chew Therapy on the bench. You got time to get Steven in at right D. You're going into the playoffs. What would you do?
I think I'd keep it the same like they had in the regular season. I'd keep Chew on the bench if I were the captain, right? I keep Chew on the bench, and then when we lose the game or things aren't starting to look too good to the point where you think they might start winning games like at this rate, then maybe throw Chew in there, and you throw the other team a curveball, and now they have to readjust to you, and you have the better team skill wise. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's like I'm trying to find like another reference here just to explain it, because
it's your hidden gem. It's your hidden gem move.
Yeah, it's like I don't know.
Trick
But
under your sleeve or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, something like that. And then I just allowed that to happen.
I can't even stop it. I literally predicted he was going to go to that side because he's done it every time, and I literally just can't do anything about it without hugging the post, and I don't have the time to. Anyway, that's all right. That guy just played like a douche the entire game. But
Yeah.
We'll say one more thing about this series, though, before we move on. And I said this in Captain's Chat, so it's a hot take. This series has 2 of the top 3 goaltenders in the league. I don't even mean statistically. Again, I mean with the eye test. Cripps is at number 1. I'll let you two decide who's at 2 and 3. But this is a goaltending battle, and I don't know if people are going to talk about that with this series either.
Well, that was the point I was making. I know Lime's a very top goalie, and it's a rough place right now because personally I would say Cripps is number 1, and I would go with Watch at number 2. And it's because I've known Watch for a longer time, and I knew he was a goalie before this, and I liked it. And actually, Kosmic introduced the idea of him being a goalie to me because he knew he was a goalie in LG. But either way, that's beside the point. That's why I started off like saying, well, I think the series was going to finish. Is if Watch is on his game, with the talent compared between the two teams, I think Swift Pup should have absolutely no problem winning the series. And that's with Watch playing well or not playing well. And then if Watch is playing well, I think it's a 5-game series max. And that's just based on, I know bounces happen and shit like that happens. So that's just in my viewpoint. But you're exactly right. It's 2 of the top goalies in the league going at each other. It's definitely got to be brought and showcased. So overall, you said 5 games, maybe 6 with going Swift Pups. Cosmic said 6 going Swift Pups. I'm going to go with 5 going Swift Pups. So if there's anything else you guys want to add to that, we can. If not, we can move on.
I'm good.
All good.
All right. So, Cosmic, we got the Drop Pass Murphys versus Imagination Land. Now, to me, this is the series to watch. This is more of a series to watch than Knights of the Frozen Throne and Chili Con. I think this is more of a series to watch than We Give 60s and Non-Kane. Swift Pops or whatever, it doesn't matter. I think these are the 2 series because we're going to have to see how Murph plays his 2 part-timers against Joe Stowe and Brick City and Figo and their whole squad. And obviously, you don't want to get matched up against Brick in the playoffs. And at the same time, you got a team that was arguably the hottest team the whole season. And if their guys weren't part-time, it could be full-time, then they probably could have just taken all their series that they could have. So when you look at this series, if you are Murph and you have those 2 part-times, I think it's Saney and Schwartz, what are you doing to make sure your team has the best chance of success, and then you're really making sure that you get past Brick City and his squad to make it into that second round? What are you doing, Cosmic?
I kind of take it like last year's Victoria's Secret team. Figo is part-time, so you can only play 1 half of the series. So what we did, we just played Figo for the first 4, and then he'd just say, hey, I gave you guys like a 3-1 lead, or I gave you guys a sweep, or I gave you this many wins. You just have to bring Jelly in and close it out. That's all you got to do. So you kind of have to take that into playing your best lineup the first 4. And then you just say, hey, like, we gave you this lead. Now your bench has to finish it. And if your bench can't finish it, then I don't think you really deserve to be in a position that you're in. So that's just kind of my take on it.
Well, so okay, then let me ask. I'll go to Dom on this then. If you're Murph, what are you doing to split these 2 up? Are you putting them both on first night? What are you doing for your team to have the best chance of success?
In terms of like Schwartzy and Saney?
Yes.
This is tough. Seventh man.
Huh?
You know.
Your mic cut out, that's why.
That's right. If I trust my 7th man and I'm Murph, then I load up the first night, the 4-game night. And again, I'm biased because I played Imagination Land. I played their full lineup, assuming their full lineup doesn't have their captain in it. If we're going to skip to predictions, we'll take this in 4, possibly 5. We're going to give Imagination Land some games here, simply because the Team D is like really, really, really good. So I think I would split. I think Net, who steals games with bad D, and he has really good D. For those who don't know, BBX and Donnie Donnie, I've known him for a long time. He's been a center though, is when I first met him, but he's been playing lefty for a long time, and he's elite at it. He's really, really, really good at it. I would split them up because just be safe, and they can beat them split up anyway. First series, whatever. Put Sandy in the next. It doesn't matter. I think they'll take it either way.
Okay. So if he splits them up, he has Schwartz or Sandy play tonight. What do you take? Like, how do you take this? Like, what's going to happen their first night of play? Is it going to be a 4-0 sweep? Is it going to be a 3-1, 2-2, maybe 3-1 for Imagination Land? Like, what do you think is going to happen after night number 1?
3-1 bare minimum, and I'll add this with an asterisk. It's 3-1 or a sweep. With an asterisk, Murph's dressing room. I don't know how it takes, but this could be if they lose one game, because I know the personalities in that dressing room. I know Brick's on the other team, but he doesn't hold a candle to a couple of the guys on Murph's dressing room. If they lose a game and they lose it badly, that could be the series. So there's that contingency. Let's not forget about that. But if they withhold, they stand true to each other and play like a freaking team and have, common sense and cooperate with each other, they'll take it. I think they'll sweep tonight, if not 3-1. Gun to my head, 4-0.
Okay. Cosmic, what do you got, buddy? What do you think?
Like, for the whole series in general?
Yes.
I think Imagination Land takes it. I'm not even going to lie with you.
I think Imagination Land takes it.
Keep choosing the other team.
I think they take it 5 or 6, Imagination Land.
Is there okay? Why? Let me ask you that.
Because I don't know. I just think Brick really, like, Brick and Fee, like, we all know, like, they're like the dynamic duo or whatever, right? And they've really put like I've joined their party like straight after series, and they all talk about what they did wrong, and they all talk about to their players.
And they've been practicing too. They practice as a team. But
they've all been kind of assessing what they did wrong, and they need like a quick fix or what you should do next time. And then I know Brick in the playoffs, he'll watch the other team, like he'll pull up Twitch streams or Mixer streams from whoever's on the other team, and they'll just watch their team play. And he'll come into the party the day before, because I know he did this when Brick was obviously on my team, right? And he's just like, hey, like straight up, like, this is what they're gonna play like, and this is what you guys are gonna need to do, and that's just how it's gonna go. And if you fail to do it, we're just gonna fail to win. That's as simple as that. Brick is a very good leader. Some might like it might come off the wrong way, but like he still knows what he's talking about. So I mean, if I had to, because imagine or drop past Murphy's, I think they just had a really strong. I don't know how to explain it. They just like their team's really strong when their lineup is there.
Full. Yep.
Yeah, but if you give Imagination Land a game or two with your strong lineup, and you put in the even weaker lineup, Brick and Feig and the whole entire team is just going to jump right up all on top of that. So,
well, this is probably the hardest series to predict, because Imagination Land's the one team that, if let's say they took a 3-1 lead, let's say the Murphs took a 3-1 lead going into night number 2, Imagination Land is the one team I wouldn't want to have a 3-1 lead against without having your full lineup there. Because Brick is, like you said, he's a leader. He's very determined to win. He knows the game. And Figo's very similar. And they're both going to sit there and say, all right, we're down 3-1, but they don't got their full lineup and shit's not working right. And we're not going to lose. And I think that's a big attribute that the team's going to have. So I think if the Murphys don't end up sweeping the first night, I think I'm in agreement with you. I think you could absolutely see Imagination Land take the series. I don't know if I see it in 6. I don't know if it's 7. But it's definitely going to need both nights, in my opinion, and I have no idea who's going to win it. And that's why I think it's the series to watch. But other than that, I mean, we got to remember that Mac North is also in net for Imagination Land. And Mac, when he's on, he's on. So I think it's going to be a tough challenge between both teams. I think the hardest part of this is just knowing what the full lineup's going to be, how it's going to be, and all the little things that go into it. So if anybody disagrees, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
because and justify I agree with everything Faye just said about Brick. It's true, and I think if they shore up their team D into a system and possibly put Brick on D, which I think is his best position, and don't get me wrong, he's good everywhere.
When he plays D, he controls the game. And that's when we played them. He played center for the first 2 games, and then he hopped back at defense, and they actually won the 3rd game with him back at defense. And it's because he controls the pace of the game and how it works. So I completely agree with you. I think defense is the better option. So go ahead.
Kind of similar to what Luka was doing with on DC's team. He was a ghost, and then he just took over the series as a. I think Brick does the same thing. At center, he was kind of I don't want to say he was transparent, but he was a non-factor. And honestly, that was because of their team D. So it's not his fault. It's just they really had no cornerstone. So yeah, with that being said, I feel like yes, Imagination Land definitely does have the potential. People have the same thing to talk about Victoria's Secret last season, which was they're offensive, they're showy. They're built like a swimmer's body, top down. It gets bigger, then it gets skinnier on the back end. But you guys showed up with a big team D, and then that's what I think took you to the, finals. So that's what had you win. So if Imagination Land does that, I think they'll take it. And then I also just wanted to note, draw past Murphys. Yes, they have a scary offense. They have good guys, but the most underrated part of their team is their team D. They're so good. It's stifling to get into their zone, and it's hard to stop them getting into your zone. That is what they have to do. That's already established. That's already done. And they've been doing that all season. That's why they're so good. He has to find a way to stop that and build his own system. So that's my opinion.
For sure. Nice grease goal, by the way. Anyway, if there's anything else you guys want to touch upon in that series, we can. If not, I think we can move on from that. Sound good?
I'm good.
All right. So, number 3, Knights of the Frozen Throne versus the Chili Con Carnage. Now, before I go to you, Dom, I want to ask you, Cosmic, your thoughts on you as a player. What are you thinking about when you're going to play Chili? The things you've told me in the party, tell me what, if you want to talk about it, go ahead. If not, we can move right on to it.
When the end of the season rolled around, we were kind of done early compared to other teams, and I was just looking at the stand, and I was just like, there's just one team I don't want to play, is Chili Con Carnage. And what do you know, we're up against Chili Con Carnage. I think they're definitely going to be our toughest first round matchup, and if we manage to win this series, I think we're really looking good going deeper into the playoffs, because Chili Con Carnage is the only team this whole entire season, although the Pale series, they swept us, but I don't think it was any more as frustrating as Chili Con Carnage, because we actually had a chance against Chili Con Carnage, and we just didn't take it, and we just got dominated all around the board. So I'm just hoping that this doesn't carry over into the playoffs. So yeah, should be interesting. I know they play really big and we play really fast, so it's kind of 2 different game styles, and they're just going to hit us around, and they're going to stop us at the blue line, and we're just going to kind of play Team D and just try and take away from them and counterattack. So should be interesting to see how this plays out.
For sure. Okay. So, Dom, break this series down. Break down the 2 teams. How the hell is this series going to end?
This is a very tough one. This is the toughest matchup, I think. Simply because, again, I played both teams, so I'm biased. I've given them the eye test. I think let's start with Chili's good. They have possibly a better system than Knights in terms of entering their zone and all that. But they're predictable in that they feed everything through Surprise Me. Even though they're predictable, and we knew that was happening, we tried to stop it. He would sometimes get goals, and that's fine as long as you can bounce back. So that, to me, is in favor of the Knights, because I feel like this team can bounce back. I feel like you guys can score. I feel like you guys, almost at will. We thought it was easy to stop you, but you just kept getting pucks behind us, and then they just kept getting in. So it was just weird. But you still got goals, and not gross or anything like that. You just had a good D, a good offense. It was relentless. So, can hold up to your D. I think that you guys can stop their offense if you're smart, and you guys have 2 of the smartest defensemen in the entire league right now. my heart and my brain both points to the Knights taking this, and God, I don't know, 6. I'm gonna say 6 to 7 just to be nice, and everyone has to show up for Knights though. Like you guys gotta play playoff hockey, and better than that, but I'll just say he's like 6 to 7, 6 for Knights is what I'll say. You have to hold me to a number.
Okay. So when I look at it, I look at a team that I look at the Chili Con Carnage, and they've got a solid squad. They got Surprise Me, Pogs, you know, they've got Flood, however, I think it's Flood, they said. And they've got their back end, and they've got a goalie with, I'm trying to remember who it is. Slicky Slick, is that who it is off the top of my head?
Slicky, yeah, I believe it's Slicker's low.
I'll take a look here in a second. I'll click on it. Oh, I got scored on because I was looking at my browser, but that's fine. Yeah. So Slicky Slick or Zlo is playing in net. Slick has more games played in net. They also have the option of Bob. They got 3 goalie options. But either
Bob
way,
might be starter.
no, huh?
I think Bob might be their starter. He's pretty good between the pipes.
Okay. So I look at this team and I don't see any straightforward, like we don't know who their starting goalie is. We don't know who's playing exactly where, and I think that's a problem for this team. So they may know what their lineup's going to be going into this game, but you look at the Knights of the Frozen Throne, you know where everybody's playing. You got Cosmic, Agent, and Jelly on the up front, which only speaks chemistry in my opinion. And then you've got one of the best defensive players in the game with Drug Monkey. And then you got Dolly, that's one of the best players in 239. So, and you got ability, that's a championship goalie. Like, he may not be having the greatest season, but if ability gets on, he's on. And he proved it last season in the championship game, or the final game there. So, to me, if Knights of the Frozen Throne all show up like you just said, and play the game that they're supposed to play, I think this is an easy series to take in 5 games. But if it's anything but them showing up to play, I think you've got a 7-game series, and I still think it's Knights that take it. But absolutely, Chili Con Carnage could be the team to come out of nowhere and surprise. Of course, that's kind of ironic with the number 1 player there. So that's my breakdown of it. And anybody could disagree with me on that. It's just my opinion on it. But other than that, Cosmic, let me ask you this: what do you think the series is going to end in? And like, of course, you're going to pick your own team, but how many games are you thinking?
I hope it ends in 4. If I'm not gonna I hope we get it done early because I don't want to go deep in this series. I just want to get it done. Well,
Sorry,
I don't wanna...
didn't stop trying to block this, but you just did it. Mm-hmm. All right, then. Fair enough. Anything else you want to add to it, Dom?
No, I think that's it. I think it'll be the tightest series, and I don't know. Both teams come out smart. I know I'm a broken record, but that's really what helps you win in playoff hockey. They're going to take it, and I just feel Knights have the edge, so that's why I chose them.
All right, fair enough. Like you said, though, it could be either team. It really could be either team, and it just depends on who shows up and who plays their game. So we'll move on from there.
Yeah.
So for the next series, we actually have my team, the Non-Cane Centrals, versus the We Give 60, and I'm going to let you guys break this down any way you want. So Cosmic, since you're the co-host of the show, ask any questions you want on the series, break it down the way you want to, pull the me and do it the way you want to do it. So be my guest. Go ahead.
All right, so for this series, it's Non-Cane and We Give 60. It's Daily versus Dub. I mean, I see these teams both having a defensive game or defensive battle. They have Thompson net, who is just like a force to be reckoned with on his own, and then you have, I don't even know what you're doing with your lineup. If you're doing what I was in a party with you yesterday, and you're doing the practice games or whatever, right? If you're doing that lineup where I don't know. Do you know what your lineup is, or is that just
We're getting on to practice at 8:20, and we're trying 3 different variations of our lineup, but 2 of them are, one of them's with me in net, and one of them is with me out. So we're practicing 2 little variations, okay. But we're not sure exactly which one yet.
I think it's just going to be a lot of who scores first and who's going to be the first to make a mistake. I think both teams doesn't have not a struggle to score, but can lack the score at times. Maybe doesn't have the greatest team offense, but has a really good team defense. So it's just gonna who can win the team offense battle first, and that's where I see it. And I think if it goes the way I think it's gonna go, I think Non-Kane's gonna take it in 6. I think it's gonna be a closer series, but I think Non-Kane's just gonna end up winning more games than we give 60 will. Does that
I
make
will
sense?
say this before you continue. We got swept by We Give 60, but I will tell you that everyone on our team felt we played a terrible series. It wasn't that we felt we got beat. It felt that we beat ourselves, kind of thing. Like making poor passes, breakouts were poor, and it wasn't acquired to Team D that we think it was. It was just we think we weren't just playing well as a unit that night, making the right choices. But anyway, I'll let you guys have that in mind before you continue with that. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, Dami, what do you think in the series goes? I mean, I know Daly's team is just something not to mess with, but don't give it to me, by the way, I'm lagging. I know Daly's team is something not to mess with, but like Non-Kane, you have D-Mart, Cortez, Dub. What do you think? How do you think this goes?
I mean, I got boys on both teams. Don't get me wrong. Got what my heart says and what my brain says, but I like this matchup as a fanboy, just in terms of how I know how these two teams play hockey, and obviously it's based on the superstars on either side. I know Daily System, and I know D-Mart Hockey, and D-Mart Hockey is just honestly, it's just smart hockey. It's a bit flashy. It's kind of like fade hockey, but it's smart. It's a really not to say your hockey's dumb, but it is. But no, like it's great. It's like a dynamic offense versus a like formulaic, by the book defense system, like Team D. And again, I know Daly just does it really well, and that's why he's here when he captains a team season in season out, and that people buy into the system. Which all of these guys he has are just like dependable guys that buy into his system.
We got to remember too.
And that's why
Odd Guys is opposite defenseman too, so that's a strong D core. So anyway, continue. My bad.
The championship. That's a championship-winning decor. You say what you want about Chelsea and Kayla, and they are good and they're dynamic. And one's a perennial Norris candidate, and then the other one is, should be up there, I think, arguably. And they haven't won anything together, right? I don't think Chelsea's won a championship in a long time, and Kayla's never won one. But that, you know what I mean. And you can say what you think about Odd, and I think everyone knows how good Daly is. And both have won multiple. I don't think together, but. Again, they're proven. They're really good. They've been on the stage before. It's a cakewalk to them. Back to it. I know what I have with Daly. And that doesn't change. Dynamic, your team, which is like it's intangible. I'm not sure. I don't really know what team will show up for you. Like, what's your forward line, Cortez? Maybe.
What we've been running is Dub at center, Nick DeGreek at left, and Dan at right. Another option is myself at center with Nick at left and Dan at right with Dub back at left D. So we're thinking of that. There's also another variation we're thinking of, but there's no point even throwing it out there because I don't think it's happening tonight.
So, like, either way, it sucks because I like Dub on center or Dub at forward and Dub at D. Are like really good. He's a smart player. He's a good captain. I think he's one of the smartest captains, by the way. Just by interacting with them throughout the season, him and captain's chat, he knows what he's doing. So is Daly, and like it's so freaking tough. I want to predict this one. Obviously, I'm predicting 7. I'm edging out to Daly because I know what I have, and you guys are just, it's like, I beat both your teams, not to brag, because obviously my team sucks. I just felt like they were harder to play against. Does that make sense?
No, for sure. And I do also want to throw out there for everyone, I was not a part of Game 1. I was at a hockey game, and I had just got back, so when I jumped right into a game. And Game 2, you guys beat us, and I think Game 3, we won.
Yeah, you beat us 4-1, yeah.
Yeah, so the series was split for me. The series was split for myself, but of course, like my whole team, we lost in general 2-1. So you're probably right. And Daly's team is very good, and I'm the first guy to be as unbiased as possible if I can be. I think my team has its problems, and I agree that I think it's going to be a 7-game series, and if we don't show up, I think we've already screwed ourselves from the beginning. And Dan said it perfectly on the E Sober show. I think whoever scores the first goal is going to be the person who wins each game. Because it's a battle back series from there.
It's something Fade said. I said yes to. I kind of forget what he said, but I 100% agree with it. And Cortez, you just said something before that. You said the first team, like it's going to be the first team that makes a mistake that's going to like lose, which is how Daly's team plays hockey.
For sure.
That's how if I can give away all my secrets now, obviously, because it was and it doesn't matter. Play my game. I wanted people to make mistakes, and then we'd have to have a big counterattack. I built my team basically around having a good counterattack and not making mistakes. So obviously, when that happens, it goes wrong, like bad. It goes pretty bad for your team. But when it goes right, like Daly's team, it goes pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
It's short. You're not dynamic. You're not the Knights of the Frozen Throne. You're not scoring a bunch of goals, a game. But you are winning, and you are playing solid hockey, solid, smart hockey, and you are frustrating the opponent. Let's not forget the post-series emo is a thing. So when you frustrate your opponent, I don't care how good they are. I don't care if they're Dan. I don't care if they're Luca or whoever the hell else you think is a really good player. If you frustrate that entire team, you frustrate that man to the core, they're useless. They're pointless.
For sure.
Cortez for our series, but Dan's apparently the best guy in the league, and he's a game changer, which I agree with. Any of those games. I mean, he can only do so much, and he'll be the first to tell you that.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. He's a very straightforward guy, and he's always talking in our parties, telling everybody like,
absolutely most humble dude in the world, and like, oh my god, he's amazing. Same with Luca. Luca and Diemar, to me, I always bring up are like the most humblest, smart, like nicest, most skilled guys in the league.
For sure, they'll never toot their own.
Crazy.
They'll never do it.
And like nobody makes them like that anymore, and I'm glad we have them and all that. But just to close it up, that's where I'm coming from. That's why I think, doing what I've seen Daly do, yeah. I think that's why we give 60 the edge.
So we give 60 and 7. Cosmic said non-Kane in about 6. I think it's gonna be a 7-game series, and I have no idea who's gonna take it. I want my own team, of course, but it absolutely could go either way, and I think you both hit the nail on the head with each way you said it. So. Good job. But other than that, I mean, is there anything anybody wants to add in before we go any further? Like we don't really have anything else to talk about, so.
Really, I guess there's 3 series tonight.
Let me check the thing. I'll check it real quickly. Today is the 26th, so we have 1, 2, 3 of them. We got Knights of the Frozen Throne, Chili, Drop Pass, and Imagination Land, then non-Kane, and we give 60. Swift Pups and Shell play tomorrow, and then play, I think it is Thursday. Yeah. Swift Pups and Knights play Thursday, and then the other 2 teams, the other 4 teams play Wednesday. So Monday and Wednesday for the other teams, and, everything else from there.
I should know this. I made the freaking thing. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. And, no, I think that's it, pretty much. Nice pass. Talk about the new season, sign-ups and all that. Remind people to sign up. And
yep. So everybody, go on the website, find the sign-ups, sign up for Season 7. Please put your positions down with what you're willing to play and get that done as soon as possible so we know how many teams there are going to be so people can kind of prepare ahead of time. But other than that, please go do that and take care of that as soon as possible. Thank you, Dom, for bringing that up. And thank you, Dom.
Captain's bringing it up all the time.
For sure.
Just kidding.
And thank you, Dom, for coming on the show, especially short notice. I know I asked you probably about 20 minutes before the show even went up. So I want to thank you for that. I do appreciate it.
Always is a pleasure.
For sure. And Cosmic, thanks for waking up in time for your own show. And yeah. I mean, I know I did tell you last night we weren't too sure if we were doing one, which is why I messaged you around I think 5 o'clock saying, hey, if we're doing it. I was at the gym and my arms were extremely sore. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I messaged Cosmic and I was like, hey, if we're going to do a series, can you please make a write-up and post it up? And I didn't get a response back, so I was like, oh. So I was like, all right, well, this will be fun. But anyway, about it, thanks you two for coming out. Thank you to everybody that's watched tonight, and good luck to all the teams participating in the playoffs. And great season to everybody, regardless of being in the playoffs or not. Look forward to Season 7. Look forward to these playoffs. Until next time, it's been Cortez, Cosmic, and Dom Silva. We're out. Peace.